Alrighty y'all, this is World Class Jerk bringing you how to set up permissions in your Discord server, and what that basically refers to is using roles to make sure that only the people you want to be able to do certain things can do those certain things. Now, I know the wording was a little weird, but you probably already know what permissions are, so let's just get on with this. So, first things first, I make this video assuming that you already have a Discord set up with the channels that you want, or that you know how to do it and I don't have to show you. That being said, I'm just going to go on ahead and get started with this, because permissions are based on roles, correct? So basically, we want to get involved with the roles right off the bat. Now, first things first actually, the default permissions, basically whatever you have for your default permissions. Let's say I create a new role right now, right? We have new role here. It's the same as what I had set for default permissions. And long story short, most of these are channel specific stuff that you can set in any of the channels that you want. So what I do is just disable everything except for these two, and now every row I create will have everything disabled except for these two. Now that's not the only way to do this, of course, but that's the way I prefer to do it. I find it to be a little, I guess, easier to do. Maybe not the most efficient, but I still find it to be easier to do and more organized. But anyways, what we're going to do in this video, because a lot of people like to do it for the usage of bots and also neatness, being able to set a color for everyone, is a default row that everybody will have. Now, the way you do that is, there's bots you can add to your server that will automatically give a row to everybody that joins. So we're not really going to cover that right here. Just know that for this video, we're going to have a row, assuming that everyone would have this row. However, you don't have to follow this tutorial in that likeness. You can actually just use this as the member row pretty much, and ignore this part if that's not what you're doing. But yes, as I already said, this pretty much inherits everything we want under permissions at the moment we create it, so we're just going to go to display, put display members separately from online members, and allow anyone to mention this row. Definitely don't turn that on, because if everyone's going to have this row, you don't want everybody to be able to ping everybody. It's a bad idea. But I'm going to set the color to white so that light mode people can't see. Anyways, though, it basically is just preference here. All you got to do is mess with display, name your default row whatever you want, color however you want, display it separately if that's what you want, and then we're going to do the rest right now, okay? Because information, text chats, and voice chats. Now, obviously, these all work with different permissions. That's why we have them under their own categories. So, instead of having to go through here and edit the permissions for announcements, then rules, then info, then lobby, then general, then dank, you know what I mean? We don't have to do all the text chats separately because we put them in categories that will all have the same permissions under them, making it 10 times easier. So, let's go to information, for example, right-click it, edit category, and permissions. Now, before we even add the member row, we kind of want to set some default stuff up here. Now, I already did this for the sake of this video, making it a little bit quicker. You just want to enable everything except for view channels, unless you're using this as the normal thing. So, if you're doing a member row like me, disable view channels, and then aside from that, put everything that you would want the members row to have access to, which is in an information channel. This is basically it right here. Create invite, add reactions, use external emoji, and read message history. Everything else can be off for an informations channel like this one. And then basically what this means is that all you have to do is add the member row, and it will have the same permissions as the everyone. So, in order to make it to where you can view the channels, all you have to do is click this, and then now it can view channels and have all the other permissions that everyone has, meaning that only this row right now can see everything, but it also has the permission set up really easily, which is great. It makes things a lot faster. You'll see how that works whenever we add a few more rows here in a minute. But yes, you want to do the same thing for your text chats, of course, and everything else. Now, how you do permissions here really is up to you, but just in case you don't know what you're doing at all, you can completely and totally copy off of what I put here. Now again, view channels, you do want this to be off unless you're just using this as normal. You're not going to give people rows when they join the server. Then you can turn this on, but again, if you're using a members row, you just add that and then force this to be on for that one. That way, it'll have these default permissions automatically. But here are the general rows you might would want to set. Now this can vary a little bit from person to person, but if you follow this, you should be just fine. And you know, this one, I don't know. I mean, you can turn it on usually. Some people don't like it on, some people don't care. I usually turn it on. But add reactions, use external emojis, use external stickers. Definitely turn this one off, though. That's pretty much something that you universally want to do. I mean, if you have a friend server, maybe you can leave that on, but I really don't recommend that at all. There we go. So we have our permissions set, and obviously just like before, which makes this very, very easy. We just have to add the member row, and then let them view the channels, and now they have all these permissions, which is splendid. And if you got a voice chats category like I do, basically just these 3 are the ones you want to add for it. Not really going to go over this one in detail because not a very deep topic. Voice chats are sometimes put in with text chats anyways under the same category. I just do them separately because I find it to be a little more neat. But again, members row, view channels, and boom. So this is really most of the video done. The next thing we're going to do though, we are going to go over staff chats. So what you would do is create a category. I'll just call it staff chats. Very, very original. But yes, we'll just put some random chats here for the sake of this, and there we go. So obviously you do not want everybody to be able to view this, but this is going to be very simple. But first, we do want to show you exactly what we need to have a row for that, of course, because we can't just give permissions to something that does not exist. So we'll go over here and we will put moderator. So again, everything here is exactly as we want it, and except actually, never mind. If you have a moderator, you might want to give them the ability to kick members, manage nicknames, ban members, or time them out. Depends on how much permission you want to give to them. These 4 right here may need to change because these are server-specific stuff, but definitely, like, yeah, you do want to do that. Anyways, display, you probably want to put this separately, and maybe you want everyone to be able to mention it. I wouldn't turn that on probably, but you can maybe, since it's not a row that everybody has. Perhaps you want people to be able to contact all of the moderators. Probably not, but you know, I've seen that before, and I guess it works, so whatever. But, when you put this row on yourself, this is important. I know this is kind of a weird place to mention this, but if you put this row on yourself, I mean, if you own the server, you're going to be able to see all the chats no matter what. So that's not how you test that. We'll get into that in a minute. But over here in the staff chats, basically we're going to do the same thing with the everyone row, except we're going to put the permissions that you would want the moderators to have, since they're the only ones who are going to access this chat. So, basically I'm going to do normal text permissions or whatever, like I would for any text chat. Because, no sense in really going all out in this video, because basically I'm just showing you the concept of this, how it normally would work for doing something like this. I mean, like maybe, for example, maybe you want your staff members to be able to ping everyone in the staff chat, since that's the only people who are there. You can leave that on, not really a big deal in a place like that. But this one is basically, it's going to be the same thing, except obviously I have voice channels and text channels in the same thing here, so we are going to want to put them in the same, we're going to want to do the permissions under the same category. But yes, the reason using everyone to set up permissions in different categories is easy is because we can just set up default permissions and then only add the rows we want, which is so fast, because as you can see there, if I want to keep the member row out, all I have to do is not add it. And it's the same with everything in any category. Now obviously an important thing to remember is that our moderators right now can only view the staff chats. Whenever you create a new row, you want to come back here and add in the basic permissions for them like this. But an important thing to remember is maybe you want them to be able to delete messages too. So any extra permissions you want them to have, or maybe in some cases any extra messages you want a row or permissions that you do not want them to have, you come through here or take it away or add it, of course. But I'm trying to find it. Never mind, I'm in voice chats anyway. So in voice chats, you might want to let them mute and deafen members, for example. So you just add that, and then it has the default ones plus whatever you added. This is so fast. Having a sort of everyone thing here to give you the defaults makes it so that all you have to do is slightly adjust each row to what you want it to be able to do, which is crazy, crazy fast compared to having to do them each individually, and especially faster than having to do them individually for each category. But yeah, another one you might want your moderators to have, for example, would be manage messages. This allows them to delete messages that need to be deleted, obviously, and so you can just turn that on, and then turn on view channels, and now they have the default permissions plus this, because you added that. So yes, way faster, definitely a good thing. And in some cases, like probably your information channel, you wouldn't want a moderator row probably to access that, so you just give it the normal ones by turning on view channels. And yeah, that's very easy, but that's pretty much all I have to say about this. This is not a very deep topic, unless you get, I guess, it can be, but I mean, it's relatively simple to get a hold of at first, and so there's not a lot left to say, but I will say that it's very easy to screw this process up and accidentally not do something right. So what you can do is go to view as server right here, or view server as the row, and you can see what they have access to. So you come here, you know that you can send messages if you were a moderator. Over here, you can know that you aren't allowed to. Down here, you can do the same because you're a moderator, but we want to make sure that member can't view staff chats, for example, or something. Or just to make sure it worked in general. Go to view row as server, view server as row, and Yes, you can see everything worked out just fine, and we cannot see the staff chats. That feature is grand because I cannot tell you how many times I've screwed this process up. Sometimes you just forget something, and that can really be a bad time. But as I said before, you cannot test this by adding the rows yourself if you own the server, because if you own the server, then no matter what happens, you have access to everything no matter what. You have to specifically go to the row and view the server as the row. But yeah, guys, that's basically it. I know that this was probably a pretty short video. I don't actually know how long the video is right now since I'm not paying attention. I just get talking sometimes, but you know, that's basically it. If you want to see more Discord videos, definitely like and subscribe, or I don't know, another awkward outro. I do this a lot. Goodbye.